This is a healthcare crisis, and Donald Trump is the architect of this crisis. He brags about overturning Roe v. Wade. In his own words, quote, "I did it and I'm proud to have done it," he says. He is proud that women are dying, proud that doctors and nurses could be thrown in prison for administering care, proud that young women today have fewer rights than their mothers and grandmothers. How dare he? How dare he? To play in. She was so proud, and she was headed to nursing school. And her name, and we will speak her name, Amber Nicole Thurman. Amber Nicole Thurman.
Amber Nicole Thurman.
That's right. And she had her future all planned out. And it was her plan. You know,
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to enter into the record an article from Newsweek that tells the truth about Amber Nicole Thurman, who died after taking abortion pills. She did not die for the lack of abortion. She died because of abortion. Abortion pills are what led to her death. And this has been a lie that has been told by the Vice President, Kamala Harris, and this is a lie being told by Democrats. This Georgia woman died from abortion pills. So thank you. I'd like to enter
without objection.
All right, guys. So I thought long and hard before deciding to do this story about the latest misleading narrative, or shall I say lie, because I'm at the point where I think that this is just an outright lie in regards to how Democrats, Kamala Harris mainly, they're using a grieving black mother and her family to grieve over the death of a young woman who decided to take an abortion pill after evading Georgia's abortion ban. Okay, she traveled to North Carolina to get access to the same abortion pills that Planned Parenthood deems as safe and effective, right? And she ended up dying as a result of complications from the abortion, okay? And they're trying to blame Republicans for this and to put the tragic death of this young woman on Georgia Republicans and the heartbeat bill out in Georgia. And I gotta tell you guys, while I do not like talking about this story, this topic, I have to talk about this because this type of lie, this narrative from Kamala Harris, Oprah Winfrey, and the Democrats is not only disgusting, but it must be debunked, okay? Because what they're trying to do here is that they're trying to essentially make this their version of Laken Riley. Now, we're all familiar with what happened with Laken Riley, okay, and the fact that she was murdered by an illegal immigrant. Now, here's the difference. The difference is that we can directly link back this illegal immigrant getting into the country and eventually committing this murder to the policies of the Biden-Harris administration, right? We can directly link these things, right? There is no guessing. We can directly link it back, okay? However, in this case right here, they're just using this mother for political gain and trying to convince this mother that her daughter died due to Republican abortion laws, and that's just not the case. And it is very important to debunk these stories because they are using these stories in order to fearmonger young women to get out and to vote, right? Because they have nothing else. So they have to literally make things up. And that is their only hope of winning this election, okay? They want to make 2022 happen again, where you had all of these young liberal women who want to keep their abortions, right? No matter what, they came out and they voted. And that's the main reason why the red wave didn't happen. It was just a red trickle because of this voter block. And Democrats are trying to recreate that based off lies. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this.
Thank you, Adley, for coming all this way. I hope you continue to use your voice. I hope you continue that. This week, the case of a young woman who lost her life after the abortion ban took place in Georgia made national headlines. Amber's case came to light through the reporting of journalist Kavitha Sarana with ProPublica. And so listen to her story.
2 years ago,
28-year-old Amber Nicole Thurman, a medical assistant and a single mother to a 6-year-old boy, found out she was pregnant. Amber had just secured her own apartment and was thinking about going to nursing school. She made the decision to terminate her pregnancy. A strict abortion ban had recently taken place in her home state of Georgia, which caused Amber to travel to North Carolina for the procedure. Traffic made her miss the appointment, so the clinic gave her medication, what are known as abortion pills. Once back home, Amber experienced profuse bleeding, vomiting, severe pain. She eventually passed out. Her boyfriend called for an ambulance. At the Georgia hospital, Amber's condition deteriorated quickly. In a rare occurrence, it was discovered her body had not expelled all the fetal tissue and an infection was spreading. Official Georgia State medical expert analysis of her case says Amber should have received a life-saving D&C, but doctors waited 20 hours before deciding to take her to surgery. Amber's blood pressure had taken a dive. Her organs had started failing. In the operating room, her heart stopped. On the way to surgery, Amber's last words to her mother were, "Promise me you'll take care of my son." Amber's mother, Shanette, and older sisters CJ and Andrika are here, and they wanted to be here tonight to speak out for the first time. Ms. Shanette, what do you want us to know about Amber's story?
Okay, so before they get into this, right, I just want to give you guys the proper context because it's really messed up when you think about what Democrats are doing right now, especially with this mother. As you guys just saw from Oprah explaining the story, this woman, she took these abortion pills. She went to North Carolina, got the abortion pills, had medical complications as a result, which is something that, hey, Planned Parenthood denies, right? These pro-abortion people claim that these abortion pills are 100% safe and effective, right? Not the case, okay? She got an infection and she went to the hospital, okay? Now, at the hospital, they waited too long to treat her. And the Democrats are trying to say, well, this is proof and evidence that the abortion ban is the reason why they waited. That's not true. That is a very misleading thing to say because, one, we do not have any official medical records or documentation or any type of testimony from the medical professionals that work at that facility in regards to why they waited so long to treat her. So we don't even know if it was because of the Georgia abortion ban. Right? That's just something they added in there, first and foremost. Okay. And the article that originally broke this story admitted that all the way at the bottom that, well, the team of medical professionals that actually were working with her, yeah, they haven't really given us a reason for why they waited. Right. So they don't know. So just to say that it was because of the Georgia abortion law, again, that's just not proven. Right. There's no real facts behind that. That's just narrative. Also, on top of that, the Georgia abortion law does not ban the procedure that the doctors needed to do in order to save this woman's life, right? So the D&C is also perfectly legal to perform because that's not an abortion, right? The fetus had already died, unfortunately, okay? And at that point, they were just cleaning out the remains to get rid of the infection, right? To treat the problem. Now, ProPublica got caught up on the language of, well, you're only supposed to be able to do this in the case of a spontaneous abortion. Like, for example, a miscarriage. But this was not a miscarriage. This happened as a result of taking abortion pills, right? That's actually what caused her to get sick, okay? I just want to make that clear, right? So ProPublica is basically arguing that, well, because of this language in the bill, they're basically speculating because they don't have proof and evidence that the doctors were holding up this procedure because of the bill. This is how the law caused her death because the doctors were confused about whether or not the procedure was legal. However, this is sophistry, right? There's no reasonable interpretation of the law that would suggest that it would be illegal to remove the remains of a fetus that had already died, right? Especially considering the fact that in this same law, there are exceptions for the life of the mother, right? So if the life of the mother is in danger, then they can perform the procedure, right? So there is no real reason for the doctors to misinterpret the law. But even if they did misinterpret the law and that resulted in care being delayed, that doesn't mean that she died as a result of the law. It just means that she died as a result of taking the abortion pills and then having a medical complication or emergency as a result of taking the pills, going to the doctor and the doctor's delaying care for reasons that we don't know. Okay, again, even if they misinterpreted the law, that's on the doctors, right? That's not really on the law itself, because again, the law is pretty clear in regards to the legalities of the procedure in that woman's situation. So if the doctors are scared of going to jail, okay, and that's the reason why they waited so long to get clarification, which again, we don't know if that's the case. We have no clue if that's the case. But if they did that, again, that's on the doctors, because again, the law is pretty clear. So I just want to give you guys the full story before I get into this mother grieving and Kamala Harris pretending to sympathize or empathize with the mother, because it really shows you how messed up the Democrats are, right? And how they will use any story, any tragic story for their own political gain, right? Even if there's really nothing there, they will reach as far as possible in order to basically trick people into believing that Republicans are at fault for something that is not really the fault of Republicans. So let's continue.
Initially, I did not want the public to know my pain. I wanted to go through in silence, but I realized that it was selfish. I want y'all to know Amber was not a statistic. She was loved by a family, a strong family. And we would have done whatever to get my baby, our baby, the help that she needed. When ProPublica came to my home, I pushed them away. No, but Kavithia, she was persistent. She said, it was something that you needed to know. You have to hear me. Women around the world, people around the world need to know that this was preventable. 2 years later, after speaking with my daughters, because I lost strength, I lost hope, you're looking at a mother that is broken. Mm-hmm. The worst pain ever that a mother, that a parent could ever feel. Her father and myself and the family, you're looking at it.
Well, we appreciate so deeply you.
Yeah, so what you can see here, and again, I got a whole lot of questions about this, and I don't want to say too much because, again, the mother's grieving. But I personally got a whole lot of questions about the motivations behind her coming out with this now. Again, as she said, this liberal outlet approached her with, hey, let's elevate this story to make it a national news story, right? You need to come out here and get political, okay? Let's use this against Republicans. Initially, she refused, but now all of a sudden, 2 years later, when Kamala Harris is running for president, now all of a sudden she wants to come out and she wants to talk about this, right? And she wants to tell this story. I got my questions about the motivations. I'm just saying, I'm not going to, make any type of accusations, but I'm just saying in my mind, I got a whole lot of questions about the motivations. But again, they're not telling the whole story, right? And they're leaving out key details. And again, they're trying to play on the emotions of women. And again, that's why it's so important to cover these types of stories and to push back against this stuff, because women are going to go out and they're going to vote thinking that, hey, this is likely to happen to me, right? And that, I don't want this to happen to me because of the abortion ban. So therefore, I need to vote for Kamala Harris. Again, it's nonsense, because, again, what we really should be talking about here are the dangers of abortion pills. That, hey, this is a reason why you shouldn't be using abortion as contraceptive, right? You shouldn't be doing that, right? This is why, you probably should be more responsible, okay, with your sexual activities, so that you don't end up in a situation where you want to have an abortion, or you need to have an abortion, or you need to go to another state to try to have an abortion procedure, because, again, it can be dangerous to have an abortion in and of itself. That's the conversation that we should be having, right? That is the real takeaway from this story. The takeaway from this story is not that the Georgia law is unjust or that the Georgia law killed this woman, because that's not what happened, right? There's no evidence and proof of that. That's the narrative from the Democrats, because they don't want to talk about the real thing. I just find it, again, ironic that it's obvious to anybody that is reading the story from a non-political angle that, yeah, this is more on the abortion pills and maybe even the doctors, okay, but not the law. Not the law. And I think it's reasonable to assume that if she didn't take the abortion pills, she would be alive today, assuming that everything else with her pregnancy goes smoothly, right? But we don't know that, unfortunately, because she did decide to take those pills, and it resulted in this situation right here, a situation we don't talk about enough, where a woman is having a medical emergency as a result of taking these pills. That is the real story here that they don't want to talk about.
Being here, and we're all watching you hear that tape and those words. We know how re-traumatizing that is, and the strength it takes for you to be here to tell your story. And we deeply appreciate it. And I have to ask you, as her sisters, how are you coping? And what does knowing that this could have been prevented, how does that sit with you? How do you cope with that on a daily basis?
I mean, it's heartbreaking. You know, that was my baby sister. I loved my baby sister, you know. I'm beyond hurt, disappointed. I feel guilty. I wish I could have helped her, you know, because she was suffering. Mm-hmm. And we had no idea. We trusted them to take care of her, you know. Mm-hmm. And they just let her die because of some stupid abortion ban. They treated her like she was just another number. Mm-hmm. They didn't care for her as if, you know, she was their daughter or their, you know, granddaughter.
Yeah.
You know, and she's not here. She'll never come back.
Yeah. Andrika, what do you want to say?
I want to say that it's very disheartening that my sister was allowed to suffer for 20 hours. She suffered. It was nothing that we could do to help her. We trusted the healthcare professionals to do their job and save her, but they failed her.
Well, I think the most powerful thing that you've said here, Ms. Jeanette, is that your daughter is not a statistic. She had a life. She was loved by her sisters, loved by her family, loved by those who knew her, and she's not just a statistic. And we are happy to speak her name tonight in this room, talking about what this country needs in terms of reproductive rights and freedom. What do you want to say, Madam Vice President?
I'm just so sorry. And the courage that you all have shown is extraordinary, because also you just learned about how it is that she died.
AKA, they were told by the liberal media how she died, right? They were told by the liberal media that, well, she didn't die because of incompetence from the doctors. No, that wasn't it. It was because the doctors were afraid of going to jail because of the Georgia abortion law, which is something that, again, we don't have evidence of. And even if they were afraid, that's on them because they misinterpreted the law, okay? Any reasonable interpretation of the law would not suggest that it would be illegal to save this mother's life, okay? But again, what you're hearing here is that, and I hate to say this because it sounds messed up, but they were brainwashed into believing this. They were. They were brainwashed into blaming Republicans. And I feel sorry. I really do. I feel sorry for this family because they're being used as political pawns, and this is extremely obvious what is happening here. They just learned about why she died. What does that mean? What that means is that, well, we just told you, we convinced you that they died because of Republicans, to blame the GOP. Now you need to come on the campaign trail with Kamala Harris and Oprah Winfrey and tell the world your story and to help us fearmonger women into voting against Trump. And it's sad and it's disgusting. It really is. I'm not going to play the rest of this because I don't want to hear Kamala Harris, turn around and blame Republicans and Trump for something that they really had nothing to do with, right? Outside the fact that the woman went to North Carolina to get the abortion pills. But again, if the law wasn't in place and she got the abortion pills in Georgia, okay, the same thing would have happened, okay? And You know, we don't know why the doctors waited. We had no clue why the doctors waited. So to come out here and to blame the law and to blame Republicans and Trump for this young woman's death, again, it's disgusting behavior. It really is. But nothing's beneath the Democrats, right? They go as low as possible. And this is one of the lowest things I've ever seen from Democrats. And it really shows you how desperate Democrats are when it comes to this issue, because if this was happening so much as they claim that it is, then why do you have to reach like this? Why do you have to take a story like this, create this massive narrative around it that's not even true, right? You have to literally reach in order to draw the conclusions that Democrats are drawing from this story. Why do you have to do that if it's so common, right? If this is such a big issue, then why use this story, right? Why convince this mother that her daughter died due to these abortion bans when you claim that this stuff is happening so much? It doesn't make sense. This is desperation. That's what it is. That's exactly what this is, because they have nothing else. They have nothing else outside of this issue. And even on this issue, they have to do major reaches, right, in order to find some story to fearmonger women about. And it really is disgusting. I feel bad for this family. They should not allow themselves to be used as political pawns, okay? And, it's just an all-around sad situation. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.